Thank you for staying with us, everyone. We turn our focus to a growing agitation in Nigeria's political landscape, the demand for the creation of Anuoma state. Supporters of this proposed state argue that the people in the area have long been marginalized, lacking proper representation, infrastructure, and access to opportunities. But the push for new states also raises critical questions. Can Nigeria afford more states? Is this a genuine cry for inclusion or a political strategy ahead of 2027? Joining us to unpack these issues is Tony Ogana, political affairs analyst, legal practitioner, and a leading voice in the Anuoma state agitation. Ms. Ogana, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
On the program, because I remember a year ago we had this conversation. But quickly, with this ongoing agitation for Anuoma state and, political marginalization, how can we balance national loyalty with regional demands?
Nigeria is in a peculiar state, particularly the Igbos. Of course, we have several tribes in Nigeria. But if you know anything or two about Nigerian history, you know that the Igbos, of which I'm proudly one, have had the short end of the stick. And so, the Anuoma state creation is coming to address that injustice. I'll explain. Virtually every zone in Nigeria has 6 states. The Northwest has 6 zones, 6 states in each zone. The Northwest has 7. The Southeast, the Igbos, have only 5. Despite the fact that you have Igbos in 11 states in Nigeria. So we don't think this is good enough. Our quest has been there since the 1950s. With the Anuoma state creation quest and that of Katagum state creation, they are the oldest in Nigeria. Asaba, the capital of Delta State today, was the first capital of Nigeria through the charter given by the then British colonial government to the Royal Niger Company. The genocide that happened during the war happened in Asaba. So my people have always had the short end of the stick.
All right. And just a year ago, we had this conversation. And a year after, Senator Ned Nwoko is still pushing, is still lobbying for more support from his colleagues. How hard has that been?
Ned has been a blessing and continues to be a blessing to the Anuoma nation. He believes rightly, he's an international lawyer, that the best way to empower a people is to empower them politically. You cannot keep dashing people money, giving people contracts, buying people cars, building houses for them, doing street lights, doing boreholes. Those things are well, fine and good. But they are short term. But
critics argue that this is a selfish agitation. They say this has a lot of political undertone.
There's nothing political about it, except to the extent that they are jittery. When Ned moved from PDP, for example, to APC, the government in Delta State condemned him, only for what to happen in a matter of weeks, only for them to join him.
And that's politics.
Prince Ned Nwoko is the major factor in Anuoma politics. With or without the state, he is popular. Don't forget that the first election he won was in 1999 as a member of the House of Reps. And since then, in and out of office, he has been relevant to the people. He's been fighting poverty, he's been trying to eradicate malaria, he's been fighting the Ukpai Light project to ensure that the whole of Anuoma is electrified and water provided. And you are Yoruba, the late MKO used to say that if you remove hunger from poverty, poverty is very well managed. And the best way to empower people is to give them employment. So if we have the creation of Anuoma state by God's grace, and then kudos to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to APC, to the senators. Nigeria has only 109 senators. 85 of them already have signed in to the Anuoma project. That's more than 2/3 of what we need to go.
So why has this agitation continued when there is the Southeast Development Commission?
Each region has a development commission.
Yes.
So you have Southeast Development Commission, it's neither here nor there. Our people want a voice. Our people are not all Igbos, but they are predominantly Igbos. The 9 local governments, Anocha North, Anocha South, Oshimiri North, Oshimiri South, Ika Northeast, Ika South, Ukwani, Ndukwa West and Ndukwa East, we all speak Igbo largely. We all have and respect the 4 market Igbo days of Nkwo, Ole, Afo. You only find it in Igbo land. The red cap is peculiar to Igbo land. So we want to stay together with our kids and kin and leave it to the prerogative of the president, the prerogative of the APC to determine which zone we are. Now let me explain. We've been in the southwest zone before under the western region. So if they create Anuoma today and put us in the southwest, we are comfortable. Today we are in the south-south. If they create Anuoma state and leave us in the south-south, we are comfortable. If they create Anuoma state and move us to the southeast, which is our prayer, we are comfortable. We speak the same language. Before I came on, your guest before now told you that because of the crime in Anambra, people are rushing to Asaba. Asaba is Anuoma land. So we are one. If you want to take us to North Central, we'll follow you. We have Igbos in Kogi. So Anuoma is comfortable anywhere. But the truth of the matter is that we are Igbos and we are better off with our kid and king at the 6 states of the southeast. So if you have
Anuoma people in all of the states you have mentioned,
oh yes, we do.
When the state is created, how do you bring all of those people together?
The first thing after creating the state is boundary adjustment. I'll give you an example. In Edo State, Edo is not Igbo. But the people of Ibanke, for example, are 1,000% Igbo. They want to join us. So after the creation of the state by God's grace, there will now be boundary adjustments. And what we hope will be a follow-up. Local governments will have to be broken down so that development can get to the people. So instead of having only Senator Ned Nwoko now, the only Anuoma senator, you have 3 Anuoma senators. One from Anacho Shimini,
okay,
which is where the senator is from, Ned, which is where I'm from. One from Ika, which is where the former senator, Ekweme, Okowa, is from. And then one from Ndukwa Okwane. You then have more automatically, you have more, apart from local government, you have more federal constituencies. And the unique point about Anuoma is that Asaba is already a state capital. We already have a state house there. So we're not going to build a new one. We already have, and I'm not saying this because I'm Anuoma, we have the best state secretariat in Nigeria. So it's not
best state what?
State secretariat.
Okay.
You know, built by someone from my town whose name I'm sure I don't have permission to mention. I'll have mentioned it.
You don't have the permission?
I don't have his permission.
Yes,
so,
okay.
But it's from my town, and everybody knows him.
And, you know, many of us are wondering.
So the state is going to hit the ground running. It's not as if we're going to build from the scratch. No.
I mean, it's easier said, Mr. Ghana, but how will a new state guarantee better governance when existing ones are still struggling with management?
Anuoma stands for excellence and equity. If you check, I'll give you an example. The banking sector. If you remove Anuoma from the banking sector in Nigeria, there's no banking. It's about excellence.
I don't understand.
The top banks in Nigeria are owned and managed by our people. I don't want to go personal by mentioning names. But if you challenge me, I will. So it doesn't look as if I'm just throwing up names in the air. And then again, don't you forget that Anuoma has enough resources on its own. We're not relying on federal allocation to survive. We have oil, we have our oil, we have our gas, we have our human resource. Our people go to school, our people are farmers, and we can make it on our own. We intend to be a model state. Because most of our politicians, like Ned, are not professional politicians. They have a second address. So if, for example, my senator decides that he doesn't want to do politics anymore, he can go back to his law practice. Either in London or in Nigeria. He owns a university, the Star University, for example. He can decide to go back to that and make it functional. Right. So he's not a professional politician in the sense of the word.
You know, respond to people who fear that the creation of a Anuoma state could lead to further ethnic fragmentation in Nigeria?
On the contrary, it will not. I shock you, each state has 3 senators. The 2 other senators from Delta, who are not Anuoma, from Delta Central, Senator Ede Dafinone, and from Delta South, Senator Joel Onowako, have already endorsed Anuoma state.
All right.
It's not a threat at all. What is there waiting to be the capital of the new Delta state? And everything Anuoma has, everything Asaba, the state capital has, what it has, it's not even better.
All right, I want to take you up on Southeast APC, but quickly, you know, there are concerns from some Urhobo and Ijaw communities that they might be sidelined if Anuoma state is carved out. Are these concerns valid?
No, our destinies are not the same. We just find ourselves through the fiat of military rule in the same state.
So what happens to those people?
They become the real Delta, they become the new Delta state. There's no argument about it at all. I just told you.
The new Delta state? Okay.
Yeah, because Anuoma will have gone. Or they can even continue to remain Delta state.
So they have the liberty to choose?
Oh, of course, yes.
All right.
Anuoma is not going to choose for them. We have chosen our own name. Anuoma, which means the good land. A for Anyocha, N for Ndokwa, I for Ika, O for Oshimili. And Ma in Igbo means good.
All right. All right, let's move on to other matters. What's your perspective on, you know, the Southeast Development Commission? What kind of support is the president getting from the Southeast?
If the president wants more support from the Southeast, he has to create Anuoma. Because it's the only way he can easily cure the injustice in the Southeast. No, that's one. That's one.
Okay.
Secondly, I think he should strongly look at raising Nnamdi Kanu Nnamdi is not Asiwaju's problem. Asiwaju didn't merely inherited it from Buhari.
All right.
It's not his problem. So if you create an Anuoma state and releases Nnamdi Kanu, I guarantee you that not only will APC win Anambra state, the average Igbo man will vote at least 75% for APC.
What kind of support is the president getting at the moment? That's the question.
I can only talk about Anuoma, which I am. We are praying for him that politics is tough, life is tough, but we know he means well for Nigeria, and by the special grace of God, he will get his second term. But to get the second term, he must assuage the fears of the Igbo man.
There are people who have come together who are saying they are ready to unseat the president in 2027. Are they capable?
I'm a lawyer. Under the constitution of Nigeria, anybody is free to join any party and say anything. But real politics tells me, and Asiwaju is the master of that, that they have no idea, they've not even taken the right step. And let me leave it at that, so I don't rock the boat too much. But I don't see them going very far. But of course, life is about surprises, they may spring surprises, but the state is created, especially if not only an Anuoma state is created, but in each of the other zones. For example, I've personally identified Ijebu state. Ijebus can stand on their own. The enterprise thing, they don't need allocation from anybody. If Asiwaju decides to create a state per zone,
all right,
the election will be
walkable. It's a good place to leave that conversation. Mr. Tony Ogana is a legal practitioner, political affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time. And
my pleasure.
Thank you. I look forward to more conversations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. That's our package tonight. And let's also tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke. We're using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatuji.